Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Today we continue to study about the Four Noble Truth. We have learned the first Noble Truth, the truth of sufferance, that includes the physical and mental sufferance. And the second Noble Truth, the Buddha mentioned that the root of the sufferance are the anger, stability, and craving. So last time we have learned briefly about anger. So now we go over again some specification of anger. And we know that anger is the basic human emotions, response to the experience that affect to us. So basically, anger is triggered by threat, pursuit, threat, injustice, hurt, or frustration when faced with obstruction. And of course, anger may be different from situation to situation, from people to people. There's no similarities. So it's up to each person direct to those situations that may trigger their anger. Of course, anger comes in a range of strengths from a mild irritation to frustration and all the way to fury and rage. So different things can make different people angry, but everyone feel angry sometimes. Actually, as human, because of mental fluctuation, we have that types of anger within ourselves until we can transform it completely with meditations, with transformations of the mind. Otherwise, it's still there with us. And in Buddhist view, anger is a type of poison. When we have that kind of uh, emotion or state of mind, um, these poisons harm us. That's why we need to recognize how to transform it. And even up to now, in many big companies, they have anger management at home. Uh, if we don't know how to tame or control anger, we may create the disaster for ourselves. So again, why do we get angry then? Anger is often associated with frustration that things do not always happen in the way that we want to, and people do not always behave the way that we think about. For example, we have frustration because we have not been given the bonus yet, or we have not been raised uh, the salary yet, or we have not received the rate according to our wish yet, um, or our children they don't do the homework that we expect them to do, or our spouse don't share or express the love that we want to, and so forth. There's all kind of frustration, all kind of dysfunctions that we have with ourselves as well as with other people. So that's why we have that kind of thought, the angry thought. At first, yes, it came with frustration when things don't go along with our wish, when people don't work or behave in the way that we want them to do. So definitely, anger is usually linked with other negative emotions, or you respond to them. For example, if someone curses us, if someone swears at us or criticizes us, uh, most of the time, if we don't have a mindful practice, definitely we would have that angry thought in our mind. We have that type of resentment. We want to take revenge, and that is the emotion uh, that come up in our mind negatively. So that's why when we have that kind of thought, it's harmful. Um, and of course, besides that, when we feel that we've been hurt, we're frightened, we're disappointed, we worry, we feel embarrassed or frustrated, we could not know how to react, we may react in a negative ways. That is the anger. So basically, anger can also result from misunderstanding of situation, from poor communication between ourselves and others. For example, if our spouse somehow they come back late from work, and we may have some misunderstanding about them. We may think that they may have some affair. They don't care much about the relationship and so forth. But somehow later on, we may find that's not the case. Or even we have poor communication with other people. That means uh, we think one way and other people think other way, but somehow with our expression we don't understand why they think that way, and of course we may not understand why they don't understand why we think in the other way. So this miscommunication, the misunderstanding is happening in our life, and of course that's what makes us being frustrated, um, disappointed about the situation, about those people that we interact with. So that again, there's a hit of anger that's stemming in our mind when things not come along with our wish. So uh, again, if we think that people hurt us physically or mentally, uh, mm, they may abuse us if we have that kind of thinking, or if we are frightened of situations that people may treat us, something that we so disappoint with our children, our spouse, our friends, our boys, and so forth. Again, um, the negative emotion we have in our mind pop up is the anger, with those misunderstanding, with those miscommunication, poor communication within ourselves. So again, when we talk about the causes of anger, it includes that we try to change the past. For example, if the student somehow they fail the test, so they try to change the result, but it's too late for them to take the test again. So that's why they're so angry with their teachers or their professors. Or sometimes we try to change other people. We try to change them to behave in the way that we want to. For example, our children, if they don't behave well, if they run around, if they don't do homework, if they curse, or if they skip school and so forth, we so angry because of them, because of those behaviors. And so that's why that negative emotion pop up in our mind. So somehow we need to recognize as we try our best to guide them instead of being control, um, instead of try to control them. Uh, Otherwise, again, anger is pop up in our mind, and a lot of negativities in our mind and belief system. For example, if we follow certain parties, whether it's um, Democrat or Republican in this country, if the other party, if the other side uh, don't act or don't follow the way that our party expect to have, expect to go, will be angry because of them. And again, when we say um, that if people follow our path, if people follow our party policy, we would be happy. Otherwise, if they go against our will, if they go against our party policy, again, that's anger pop up. And there's some unfulfilled desire. For example, if we fail to do business, if somehow a business fail, if we don't generate enough income, a profit for our company to grow, that may create the angry thought in our mind. Or if we have so much competition with other companies, uh, uh, so we could not um, win those competitions. And that's why we may have that kind of angry thought toward those competitors, and even the student too. If they expect that they have good grade on their test, but what happened when they receive the test back and they didn't receive the grade that they want to or they expect to? Again, that's um, anger popping in their mind because of that frustration, of that kind of disappointment about uh, the grade that they didn't expect to have. So again, so those are the causes of angry, and what can make people angry. So there's many common factors that make people angry. For example, grief. If we lost some loved one, like our parents, our siblings, our grandparents, our friends, and so forth, we have that kind of grief, and somehow we angry that we lost them, that we don't have any chance to communicate or to hang around with them, to live with them. So that's why gift is one of the cause that make people angry. Mm. And the next one is tiredness. That means when we work at school, at our company, when we so tired physically, mentally, if someone says something that may irritate our mind, we'll be angry easily, and that's we could not control our state of mind. And the other one is when we hungry. Uh, because of the needs of consumption for food. Somehow, if we don't have food or drink to consume to sustain the body, we may feel angry at that moment. So, mm, because we cannot control our mentality when we so weak, when so hungry, and when we're in pain, whether it's physical pain or mental pain. For example, if we twist our ankles, if we break our arms, but someone try to harm us, or someone try to say something negatively, definitely we will have that kind of anger uh, coming up in our mind too. And even some people, if they have taken the drugs for them treatment, for example, depression or stomach and so forth, somehow if they don't take enough medicine, or if somehow it's have the side effect of the medicine, it may trigger their angry thought easily. And there's some physical illness, uh, again, like having headache, having stomach ache, uh, or the shoulder pain, or back pain, and so forth. That make us discomfort, and it make us angry because we compare the time that we're so healthy, we can do things as we want to, but now we're so sick and so painful everywhere in our body that we cannot do things that we want to do as before. We could not have the normal regular activities like going out to play football, going out to play basketball, going out with our friends at night and so forth to have social life with them. So that's why it's easy for us to have that type of anger. And when we have mental illness, that means stress, anxiety, depressions, those are mental emotions that relate directly to anger. So if we so stressed out and we may concern about other people, um, that may they may harm us. And when we think about them, yes, the angry thought may pop up. When we is so worry about our children, if something happened to them, if they come home late, if they skip school, if they don't do homework, we'll be angry toward them because of our concern to them, because of our worriness about them. And so that's just why it's happened to us and to other people. And when we deal with injustice, let's say if someone bully us, if someone treat us uh, poorly, um, if someone look down upon us, uh, for example, like at work, if the supervisor and manager somehow they treat us unfairly, they would not like to raise our salary. Instead, ask us to do a lot of work. But for other people, all the different race or nationalities, they may not do much work, but they get raised in their salary. With that type of injustice, we may be angry toward those supervisor and manager. And even sometimes we know that the uh, employees, if they were laid off without any reason, or if they were laid off unfairly, they may take revenge. And we heard many stories that the former employees um, kill the uh, employers or supervisors because of that type of anger, because of that kind of hatred or rage within their mind. So those factors um, trigger the anger in our mind easily. And of course, when we talk about people who use alcohol, who are alcoholic, or who use drugs, um, especially illegal drugs, it's easy for them to have overdose with alcohols. Uh, it's easy for them uh, not to control their own mind, and that's easy to have the anger uh, uh, that they expect toward other people, especially for the alcoholic people. When they so drunk, they couldn't control their mind, and whichever thing they do, somehow it's out of their mind, it's out of their control, and sometimes they may yell each other, they may yell other people. And not talking about someone who use illegal drugs. They live with illusions, and somehow they create the bad karma easily with mm, the influence of drugs. Especially, it's easy for them to express the angry mm, attitude thought toward other people. And the other common factors have been teased, bully, whether they're young or old, whether uh, mm, they come from different countries, nationalities, or genders. If they were bullied or teased, it's easy for them to have the angry thought, angry attitude toward the one who bullied them. So somehow, if we don't know how to control our mind, it's easy for us to be triggered by those attitude, by those actions of other people. If they try to bully us physically or mentally. It's happened in everyday lives. Of course, there's a law that everyone need to follow, but still, somehow people could not remember or could not control their behavior in the public. For example, um, nowadays we have uh, Nora virus. It's happened everywhere around the world, especially in China. But somehow people have the uh, negative thought about Asian people. So they may think, oh, all of them are Chinese. So there's a certain people have that kind of thought. That's why they may uh, bully or they may tease or they may stay away from Asian people because they thought, oh, they were Chinese people. But of course, there's only a few of them. Um, Majority of people they respect each other, but somehow, if we don't know or understand the sentiment of other people, we cannot control our mind. We just generalize people or group people in the way that we expect, we think about. So again, uh, with those type of behavior, um, that easy for us to have angry thought toward the one that try to bully us physically and mentally. And when we encounter some situation like embarrassment, yes, we be angry if people put us in that type of situation that embarrass us in front of people. For example, if our children somehow they don't behave well in the public, they may be embarrassed by the parents because of that kind of misbehavior of our children. They may play around in the public. They may talk loudly when we do the prayer. They may run around in the temple, in the church. That the parents may feel embarrassed because of that type of misbehavior from the children. Of course, when they get back, uh, their parents may yell at them because of that type of anger. So again, dealing with those type of situations is not easy for us to maintain the state of peacefulness and happiness within ourselves. And when we deal with the deadline, especially for the student, uh, if they have to be in rush to finish up their assignments at certain times, a certain day, but what happens if they have not, if they could not finish their assignments on times, they angry taught toward their teacher professors, or even when they try the best to finish up their assignments, but somehow if they get stuck and they could not finish their assignment on time, again it create or trigger their anger very easily. And when we deal with people who provide a sloppy service, for example, if we build a house and hire some contractor to build a frame, to build the windows, to put the sheetrock and so forth. But if they do the sloppy jobs, of course, we be angry toward them because we expect them to fulfill their obligations for those jobs. And when uh, we fail the test, when we fail our expectations, when we cannot fulfill our promise to other people, again, we be angry with ourselves and other people too. Another factor is unfaithfulness. If our spouse has an affair with other people, definitely we'll be angry because they violate their vows. Um, so that's why there's many people, especially many couples, at first, they love each other too much, but whenever they find out that their spouse cheat on them, yes, their spouse will be their enemies uh, after the divorce. And so again, the emotion of humans swing back and forth between love and hatred, love and anger. So the more we love other people, if they are unfaithful to us, the more angry thought we may have toward them. And another common factors of being angry is when we deal with theft. If someone steal our stuff without our permissions, without our knowledge, definitely um, we'll be angry toward those people, the one who take away our possession, our properties. Um, that we value them so much. We spend a lot of money for those items. For example, if someone steal our watch, if someone steal our laptop or our cell phone and so forth, because we are using them and now we lost them. That's why we could not access to internet or communicate with other people. So again, because of those losses, we be angry toward the one who have stolen properties of possession. And other factors, when we deal with financial problems uh, of our life, um, when we mm, uh, don't earn enough income to pay the mortgage, to subsistence our life, when we lost our stock, or when we lost our jobs. Again, it's easy for us to have those angry thoughts in our mind, uh, as well as the angry thought toward other people when we deal with financial uh, problems. Uh, and another factor is that when we were told by our doctor that we may have some type of serious illnesses, like the incurable illnesses as cancer and so forth, we may be angry and we may put the question, why? What's happened to me? I know the story that one lady, and she is in the midst of 30s, but somehow she got cancer, and of course she stayed home to have the treatment, but somehow she was so angry because of this kind of illness. So again, the Buddha mentioned that if we don't know how to control our mind, it's easy for us to have this kind of poison emotions. That's mean anger. So instead of having uh, mm, the poison, I mean the mental poison as anger, we need to transform and recognize the reality of life. Mm. So those are the common factors that make people being angry. So let me show you some video clips that happen to some people. Of course, sometimes it happens to us too. When we deal with uh, the situation. Okay, let me show you this. I want to mute the sound. Okay, so this is say road rage, Drake chaos of traffic jams. When people fight each other, when they stuck on the traffic, and somehow they have that type of fighting because of angry thought toward other people, toward mm, the one they interact with, and it's not easy to control the mind when they get stuck in the traffic, when their cars get hit and so forth. Mm. And so you see that people try to uh, fight each other. They smash the car and they grab the owner out, and somehow they drag in the violent way. Okay, so that's just another way to see how people drag um, in a violent way. And here, sometimes we fail uh, our task. Sometimes things happen to us, make us angry, like this lady in the supermarket. She tried to get some items, but somehow everything fell on her body. And yeah, this lady, she's uh, fell probably because of mm, the surface of the floor, this wet floor. And this gentleman, he tried to wrap some beer, and he gets stump, he stump over the basket that lady kicked out. Mm. Okay. Anyway, so again, sometimes uh, we fail that because of the wet floor. We may fail because of the situations. Okay, let's see. Let me show you this clip that show the people who have deal with gift. This is animations about the gift. Is their heart is like broken heart with all kind of spear and that mm, point to their heart when they lost their family members or when they miss them, and their heart is cold uh, like the ice is spread to their mind, their brain. And eventually it spread out that give that sorrow as the butterfly. Okay, and let me show you when we angry, it affects our brain. How it affects our brain when we're angry. So we're angry. When we're angry, we have the mood of fight or flight in our brain, and increase the heartbeat. It pay attention. It our breath tighten. It stop uh, it increase the blood flow. When we have that type of attitude, when we have that type of thought, the angry thought, and it have higher level of arousal, it have the lower level or reduce the low level of the concentration. When we're angry, we have that physical drag in the frontal cortex.
But our amygdala will react to the same threat in about 20 milliseconds. Our brains work so that we can react to something quickly, but this means we don't really have time to think about the consequences. This might be why when you lose at your video game, you throw your remote across the room in anger, regardless of what it might hit or break. The amygdala is overriding the prefrontal cortex. However, we do have control over this instinctive response. Something as simple as chewing gum can activate our parasympathetic nervous system. This is the opposite to our fight or flight response. It's our rest and digest response. By chewing gum, the body is forced to prepare for digestion, which it would not do in the fight or flight response. Actively controlling our breathing also activates our parasympathetic nervous system. It decreases our heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and slows breathing. You can try it now. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth for 6 seconds. Do this a few times. How do you feel?
So anyway, so these are the method that how we deal with anger. And again, if we put in practice meditation, we can handle our emotions. That's negative emotion of anger, and that's what we're going to talk later on. Okay, let me show you. Besides anger, we recognize that some kind of fear may create uh, the discomfort, angry thought in our mind too. So that's what we call fear of sleep. If someone have the problem of sleeping, that's why when they try to fall asleep, try to go to sleep, it's not easy for them. Okay, So those are the video clip that we can recognize the cause of angry that's happened to every one of us until we utilize the meditation techniques to transform uh, those emotions within ourselves. So again, those are the common factors that trigger our anger. Um, so we need to recognize. So according to psychology, uh, there are different types of anger that we could recognize. The first one, what we call behavioral anger. So this type of anger is comprised of aggressive and cruel action. It implies mostly on the physical aspect. So it usually implies an attack toward the subject of anger, usually a person. Uh, Usually it's expressed through troublemaking, a physical attack. For example, if someone uh, say something that go against our will, or if say something that we may not like, we may show our attitude toward them. We may show the physical aggression toward them, uh, and vice versa. So that's why it's easy for people to fight each other when uh, they deal with other people that make them disappointed, that trigger the anger. And again, this is called behavior anger. Anger. And that means they show the anger through their behavior, especially the aggressive attitude or violent attitudes uh, toward the one that they may not like. They want to show them that they so angry because of that people expression, that people behavior. So that is what we call behavior anger. And second one is verbal anger. This type of anger, on the other hand, use the words, not action. So before we have behavior anger, they express anger through the action, especially the violent actions. But here, when we talk about verbal anger, it talk about they express themselves angry uh, uh, with words, not action. So they may open to insult, to criticize, to hurt other people orally. They may accuse other people with crimes, with wrongdoing. They may vent the anger out of their speech, of their verbal expression. So that's what we call verbal anger. And the third one we call passive anger. Um, this type of anger relate to the people who try to avoid certain interaction with other people, and they try to subdue or suppress their anger by not showing that type of attitude toward other people, but still um, uh, uh, underneath of that, they uh, have the flow of angry thought within themselves toward other people. When we deal with what we call jealousy, if someone who perform well or perform better than us, who get good grade, who have more charisma than us, and so forth, we uh, uh, mm, on the surface, we don't expect anything, but on the bottom, underneath of within uh, our mind, depth into our mind, in the depth of our mind, we have that kind of angry thought toward that person because of jealousy. Okay, so let me stop here today, and I'd like to share with you um, my lecture next time. All right, thank you. Thanks for your listening. Um, Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Thank you. See you soon.